Oh, it's the best. It's the best theme song ever.
Yeah,
it really is. Monday Night Football.
No, Sanford and Son.
Welcome to the edge of nowhere.
They're playing games at the edges of what we know.
Monster Lore Tour Podcast. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 78th episode of the Monster Lore Tour Paranormal Deep Dives from the Edge of Nowhere podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Carr, here with my co-host and the Shunka to my Warak'in.
Yeah.
Did I do that right?
Yeah.
Mr. Matt Ozero, a.k.a. the Moz. How we doing today, Moz?
No complaints. I'm just going to jump in today.
Yeah, I don't know what the Shunka to my Warak'in means, but apparently you're going to teach us all about it in this episode right now.
Well, this is the first of a 12-part series on the creature known as the Shunka Warak'in. A quiz will be required at the end of each installment.
Whoa.
Jeremy, you must also complete the essay assignment, Jeremy, within the allotted time frames before proceeding to the next cryptoid module.
I prefer the essay portion.
Yeah. Well,
It's more my style.
I imagine
That's
you're
why
definitely
I write a podcast.
Qualitative kind of guy. Doctorates in Shunka Warak'in history, lore, physiology, and symbolism are available at Moz University for those who pass our strict PayPal screening process. You just have to have PayPal, basically, and you're in.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm kidding. There are no prereqs tonight.
You sound like a
all.
Nigerian prince on my email right now.
Exactly. But no, we're just going to do a lighter, more spotlight critter hunt tonight. I wanted to pick something a little strange, maybe you hadn't heard of, and there's a little twist at the end, a little plot twist we're going to be have in store for us.
I like a good twist.
Yep, exactly. So,
Makes the martini taste better.
there you go. So everybody have fun tonight, to everybody Shunka Warak'in tonight.
Nice.
But that's only a 30-year-old reference. I don't think
I
that's...
kind of get it.
But tonight...
I definitely know how to Shaka Khan, man.
There you go.
She's awesome.
But tonight our quarry is an odd duck, and it's not even a duck. And I have no file even started on ducks, by the way, but thanks for asking. But tonight we go on the hunt for the elusive Shunka Warak'in, and it's a literal hunt, Jeremy, because at the end of the program, we're going to make a phone call and hopefully, maybe get a little bit more information on this. I'm giving myself a 1 in 100 shot of solving this tonight.
Okay.
But believe it or not, there's actually a few reasons I chose to explore this particular beastie, because there's all kinds of creatures in Moz's monster lore features, basically. These reasons will become apparent as we proceed, but mostly this one, you don't usually hear about, and it did kind of intrigue me. I came across it in Lauren Coleman's Cryptozoology A-Z, and true to Coleman's word, S is situated between A and Z, good for him. And I thought it was an interesting bit, and, I also want to give Lauren Coleman, I want to start off with a little mad kujos for putting me on this hunt.
One.
Yep.
Mad kujos for Lauren Coleman.
Down boy!
I feel like that's not the first time Lauren has won that.
I feel like we're going to have some repeats. He's going to be like Lauren Michaels on SNL. Just like Alex Bowen is kind of, he's our guest host, and we're going to have people we're going to give a lot of mad kujos to, I think, over the episodes.
No, that's good. When in multiples, it's like getting your EGOT.
Your EGOT.
You got to get 4 of them.
That's right. In a perfect second world, though, cryptids would start with letters not found in the alphabet, though. And I thought about this, like between letters, like Namibia in South Africa, for example, has this exclamation point that starts it. We talked about this on one episode with this Kong kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that? I think cryptids should have that.
Phonemes rather than letters, kind of.
Yeah. Made me realize, 2 things also, though. The name King Kong, one, it's really redundant, right? Like Lord Deity.
Sure.
Or God Caballero. But if we do Kong, he was kind of ahead of the game because there's like a click in front of that sound.
Oh.
I think it's the same area. But I'm working on a new language to discuss cryptids that no one will be able to pronounce or even care to. I do important things here at MLT.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah. Yep. But
now I know what's going on.
I was in the woods and I heard this. See, here's this blurry picture. See,
that was me tripping over that log.
There you go. But location and regions tonight. This creature has been seen in the central U.S. to the upper central portion of the country, or more especially Crypto Great Marquet Hall, states more specifically, these specific states, Alberta in Canada, Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois in the United States. That's from Coleman's book as well, by the way, unless otherwise specified, probably came from his book. I think the Southwest is also a possible thing, and we also come across Montana in a little bit, as we will discover near the end of the podcast. A lot of
empty space up there.
That's right.
I don't know what's going on up there.
Exactly. But this is an interesting little account, interesting little critter. I'd barely heard of this beast, actually, which again popped up in that Coleman book right in my library, which is really cool, right under my nose, which you should never let a Shunka Warak'in anywhere near your nose. That's what I've come to understand about this beast.
I still don't know what it is, and I agree with that statement already.
It's kind of in the wolf, dog, coyote type family, but admittedly, it's kind of lean on accounts, especially recent, and not actually seen horribly often. But if Native American tribes speak of such a beast, not as myth, but as an intruder into their camps and villages, to my mind, it's worth exploring. And the other piece of this, since it is obviously shy, when you catch a glimpse of one, you may just think it's a coyote or a wolf. So it is going to be hard to kind of distinguish. But this one has different behavior, different pattern, different look to it. The most interesting pure speculation piece on Lauren Coleman's part, he believes the specs of this creature fit Bonophagus, Bonophagus, which Coleman described as an ancient hyena-like dog, described as a coyote-sized, but with some extra jawular kind of bone-crushing ability. The creature is also described as being mean-looking. And this thing existed right up to the early Pleistocene, but was believed to have, like many other species, died at the end of the last ice age. So at least from a plausibility perspective, this is another creature that hasn't been gone all that long. And it hailed from North America. It was essentially another pack animal roaming parts of North America, potentially more wolf or, again, hyena-like. I'm personally glad we had, coyotes, because not only are they more near and dear to my totem trickster heart, but could you imagine if the coyotes were wiped out by these things, and here in Arizona we'd have to go to hang out at like Shunka Warak'in Flats or camp at Shunka Warak'in Buttes or head down to Shunka Warak'in Gulch kind of thing.
Doesn't roll off the tongue quite so well, does it? And
think about the team. The hockey team would be even worse, except Salt Lake City stole it anyway, so it's all good. But face it, as much as I love cryptids,
this sounds like the thing that was spotted in front of Bone Manor on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's really interesting that I didn't make that connection, but we couldn't identify someone.
Kind of wolfy, kind of coyote. Doesn't look like either one really, though.
Yeah.
And
it was a bigger and more monstrous.
Yeah.
So
that's
I think the way it was described.
I think Bone and his brother saw this thing on New Year's Eve.
Bone heard it and his brother saw it. Yeah.
That's right.
But if you think about it in those terms, maybe having them go extinct was actually, we dodged a bullet, because I don't think the Shunka Warak'in thing would have worked with the paraphernalia and on shirts and stuff. So
no, it was like the saber-toothed tiger. If it was still around, we would be living in a different world.
Yeah. Well, a world with sillier pocky jerseys.
We weren't the top of the food chain then, you know what I mean?
That's true.
We're not technically officially, but basically we are.
Yeah.
We know how to not let the things that are above us get at us.
Yeah. No, I got you.
But, you don't think that saber-toothed tiger would be coming through the window at you, man.
Remember The Simpsons when the guy's like, you just don't understand the food chain, and it's a picture of like Homer, and then all the animals point to his belly, like shark and giants.
They all go belly.
But before we get into this beast proper, let's look more generally at mystery dogs and wolves as they relate to North America and the fossil record. So this is from George Eberhart's work, Mysterious Creatures, a Guide to Cryptozoology. That will be in the show notes. The dog family Canida arose from primitive carnivores in the Eocene about 35 million years ago in North America. Common characteristics include elongated jaws, long legs relative to body size, 5 toes on the front feet, 4 toes on the hind feet, non-retractable claws, and the omnivorous diet. Most species are uniform in coloration, with special markings usually confined to the head and to the tip of the tail. In size, canids range from the fennec fox, that weighs about 3 pounds, to the gray wolf, Canis lupus, that weighs about 175 pounds. The earliest canids were the Hesperocyanines of North America, small to medium-sized predators at the late Eocene, 35 million years ago. They were replaced by the Borophagians that Coleman mentioned, a group that ranged in size from foxes to lions and was dominant from the Miocene through the Pliocene. An early true dog, Canis davisi, moved across the Bering Land Bridge to Asia and Europe in the Miocene, about the size of a coyote. It ultimately gave rise to the foxes and wolves that colonized all Eurasia from 2 million to 700,000 years ago. Wolves, coyotes, and foxes moved back into North America from Asia. All domestic dog breeds are descendant from the gray wolf, which was apparently domesticated at different times and places as early as 12,000 years ago. Of the 20 canids in this list, only a handful could represent new or surviving species.
So the original canid was in the Americas, and it went across to Asia, and then it populated all kinds of new stuff over there over the eons, and then they came back.
It's like when things go into water and come back, like they evolve onto land, and then they evolve. All the sea mammals are an example of that. They evolve on the land, and then they start looking back for deeper and deeper for fish, and then they eventually evolve into swimming mammals, and it's just a back and forth kind of thing.
Wild.
That again from Mysterious Creatures, a guide to cryptozoology, will be in the show notes by George M. Eberhart. But let's Shunka Warak'in proper. I hand the introduction.
How do we do that?
I have it here.
I'll Shunka, you're Warak'in.
I don't know what to say after that because I don't know how to introduce him really. He's, I'll let Lauren Coleman do it.
Okay.
Lauren Coleman's Cryptozoology A-Z. In the wilds of upper Midwest United States lives a frightening-looking primitive wolf-like beast known to Indians and early Western pioneers. The Iowa, as well as other tribes, even have a name for it, Shunka Warak'in, carrying off dogs. Little has been written about this animal, which is why this is only a 12-parter, by the way, from the Moz, because records of it are really rare, and the existence of otherwise well-known timber wolf has often confused the picture. Nonetheless, evidence does exist for this new addition to the cryptozoological menagerie. The story begins of the Shunka Warak'in in the 1880s when members of the Hutchins family traveled west by covered wagon to settle in Montana. Their ranch left its mark on the geography of the region, and the name Hutchins Ranch, located about 40 miles north of the little town of Innis, still appears on Montana maps. That again from Lauren Coleman's book, Crypto A to Z. So Jeremy and I loaded up the Monstermobile wagon and headed over to the Hutchins, Montana. Okay, we don't have that kind of funding, but...
We can't afford any horses. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. There's also been another US file on this, by the way. I have an US file related to this, potentially. And I'm going to...
How do you come up with these US files?
You
had an US file for Goatman, too.
Yeah.
Well, how the hell do you do that?
So the Hutchins, some of them are only... This one's... You'll see when we get there. But the Hutchins settle into what would come to be known as Hutchins Ranch, the old homestead, and eventually one of the descendants of the settlers, old Russ Hutchins himself, wrote a book, Trails to Nature's Mysteries, The Life of a Working Naturalist, in 1977. This is one of the grandchildren of those original settlers. He becomes a naturalist. His family was plagued by this creature, and Coleman covers it in his book, so I am going to read this excerpt. One winter morning, grandfather was aroused by the barking of the dogs. He discovered that a wolf-like beast of dark color was chasing my grandmother's geese. He fired his gun at the animal but missed. It ran off down the river. But several mornings later, it was seen again about dawn. It was seen several more times at the home ranch, as well as other ranchers 10 or 15 miles down the valley. Whatever it was a great traveler. Those who got a good look at the beast described it as being nearly black and having high shoulders and a back that sloped downward like a hyena. Then one morning in late January, my grandfather was alerted by the dogs, and this time he was able to kill it. Just what the animal was is still an open question. After being killed, it was donated to a man named Sherwood, who kept a combination grocery store and museum at Henry Lake in Idaho. It was mounted and displayed for many years, and he called it Ringdocus. He gave the name Ringdocus.
Okay.
Which I believe then it was probably awkward for the Shunka Warak'in, because when they returned to the pack, The guys probably called him Ring Dorcas.
Ring Dorcas.
That's what I'm thinking happened. You got to be careful how you name your cryptids, kids.
So it's big and it's black and it's shaped kind of like a hyena, huh?
Has a sloping back like a hyena. It's mean looking.
We're not supposed to have anything like that in North America.
Nope,
right?
not even close.
Yeah, okay.
But again, that account from Cryptozoology A to Z, now filed under M for Mad Cujos, I think.
Mad Cujos. So we can give Mad Shunka Warak'in.
There you go. But now back to that author, Ross Hutchins. He holds a PhD in zoology and, per the book's title, a working naturalist. Better than those unemployed naturalists always hanging out in the woods or on the beaches, you know.
I didn't know that was a job. I thought it was just a lifestyle.
Or naturalists are just,
I thought it meant being naked outside.
That's what I was thinking. Actually, yeah, I was beating around that kind of idea myself.
That's the naturalism I know.
But Ross looked into the hyena escaping from the zoo angle because the biggest difference between this creature and the area timber wolf was this hyena-like slope back. But there was no circuses anywhere near the Hutchins Ranch at the time, not for hundreds of miles, I think it said in the book. But a few good stories out there of hyenas, traversing such distances to return home does exist. Feel good stories when the hyena returns to the homestead and eats your child.
Yeah, the Shunka Warak'in ate my baby.
But there's a picture of this mounted beast in Lauren's book. It does seem somewhat hyena-like, sort of. I don't really catch the slope back too much. It's clearly wolf-like. I would even venture that it's more wolf-like than coyote-like, but not really fully wolf-like either. It's a weird-looking thing, much shaggier than your average coyote with skinnier legs, maybe a slightly extended face.
Have you seen pictures of the coy wolves?
Yeah, there's the theories, coy or dire, and they go there, but none of them really fit. It certainly doesn't fit the dire wolf.
No, there's what's considered kind of a relatively new thing still, I guess, but it's happening more in the northeastern United States and up into Canada, I think. But there's I always forget which is which, but there's a certain type of coyote breeding with a certain type of wolf, making coy wolves.
Yeah.
That look different. Like,
yeah.
Could we be talking about something like that, maybe? Like an interbreeding of species?
It does seem a little hybridy. It does seem variation of a theme. And again, Lauren Coleman pointed it out, and I've already pointed it out. If you only catch a glimpse of this, it's going to be hard to distinguish from a wolf, okay. Especially if they get to be like the gray wolf, timber wolf, 175 pounds. Those are big.
Big.
So this can be it certainly can be a variation. But again, if you check out that picture, if you Google Shunka Warak'in, this doesn't quite look like a wolf. It is a little bit of an odd creature. Huh, okay. And again, what tends to happen in these things, they catch one and DNA confirms it's a wolf. But again, it could still be a new species of wolf.
Right.
The DNA evidence is far from perfect.
Or one of those supposedly extinct things that wasn't really, that keep coming back. They keep finding things we thought were extinct.
Yeah, the Phagus. I mean, if it is the ancient wolf that Coleman was talking about, and that may be the best guess we have, speculative-wise. But evidence-wise, we have this stuffed beastie perhaps in Idaho somewhere, but it's quite MIA at the moment, this stuffed creature. So there's some intrigue there, which kind of ties in with the end of the program here. But Coleman does cover an account from Iowa Indians, the same tribe where legends of this beast originate. Coleman directly discussed the incident with the man who spied the animal, one Lance Foster. Here's a quote circa 1995, or more importantly, X-Files Season 3. That's when that happened.
Yeah.
We had a strange animal called Shunka Warak'in that snuck into camps at night and stole dogs. It was said to look something like a hyena and cried like a person when they killed it. Its skin is said to be kept by someone still. So skin and a picture, and perhaps a taxidermy-mounted body that was last seen in Idaho.
Huh.
Yeah.
Where is it now? It's in the basement of the Smithsonian.
Yeah. Yeah. Another roadside attraction.
With all the giant bones in the basement of the Smithsonian.
It's in the Vatican. It's in the Vatican. But was it a shaman? Did they kill some type of hybrid half-beast back in that day? Was it a chindi, something that walks in its hind legs, more spirit-like?
Oh, yeah.
But Lauren Coleman, again, quote, the present whereabouts of the mounted Shunka Warak'in, Hutchins' so-called ring docus, are uncertain. Though some reports claim it had moved to the West Yellowstone area, once it is located, it is essential that DNA testing on samples of the hair and skin are conducted. Only then will we know for sure whether we are dealing with a truly new animal or a taxidermist's very bad mount.
So tell me its territory again. We were talking like Montana down into the Southwest.
Well, I said the Southwest, and we're going to add that today because we're from the Southwest.
Yeah.
But, Mark A. Hall, another cryptozoologist known for his Thunderbird Legends book, he said it was in like Iowa, and we went through Illinois, and, it's in Montana, and Alberta is where it was believed to have originated from Canada.
So it travels across the latitude more than north-south.
Yeah.
Seems. Okay.
Yeah, but the taxidermy piece reminds me of the whole Coleman frog thing. Remember we did Frog Flap and had that really weird frog that looked terrible because it was just 1800 bad taxidermy, so we didn't know what we were dealing with. This is another case of just potentially too old bad taxidermy back in the day.
When I think of frogs now, all I can think of is Buford the blue-nosed bullfrog.
Exactly.
From the last, what was that, Christmas or something? It was Krampus's psychedelic bullfrog or something. I can't remember. Krampus's
sleigh. But it was a frog, part of Frog Flap. And both of those can be found, frogs back from the mausoleum, which is, I think that was a Roger Corman film too, by the way.
Uh-huh.
But it's a terrible taxidermical job at the end of the day. So my thoughts, in my opinion, we obviously don't, have a ton to go on. Possible taxidermical specimen yet missing. A naturalist and zoologist whose family is at the heart of this legend claim his family, believes in this as a real creature. We have a matching Indian legend and folklore of such a dog snatcher. We also have Lauren Coleman's pointing to a very similar animal existing in the not-so-distant past, an ancient dog. So for me, all this brings the legend of the Warak'in out of the unlikely category and firmly into the meh. But, there's more to come.
Well, yeah, it's just, we have so many canid-type creatures on this continent, and you look at the fossil record, and you think about things like that, and, the unextincting of species and discovery of new species and interbreeding of species. Yeah, I could think of all kinds of things that might explain this.
Yeah.
And it's not it's far from the most outrageous thing we've talked about on this podcast that there could be another type of big wolf-like, coyote-like kind of creature running around.
Yep. And it was intriguing enough for me in some ways to kind of, give it the benefit of the doubt. I think there was enough elements here for it to be, interesting. And I also, like I said at the end, I'm going to do like a Babe Ruth. I'm pointing to the wall now. I'm pointing to the wall. We're going to solve this at the end. This is okay. Do you remember Babe Ruth? Remember when he This is going to be nothing like that. I give myself a 1% chance of finding something.
I like Major League better when he points to the bleachers and then he bunts. I like that better.
There you go. I like it. But we'll see what happens. But highlight feature-wise, let's hear another take on this BC, just from around the series of tubes called the Internet. This from Shunka Warak'in, hyena of the Rocky Mountains. It's in the show notes. What is the Shunka Warak'in? For centuries, an unknown predator has been preying on domesticated animals throughout the plains of Montana. According to Native American lore, the Shunka Warak'in is a non-wolf canid that sneaks into camps at nights to steal dogs. After a fierce encounter with the Shunka Warak'in in which the Iowa tribe was victorious, they took pieces of its hide and incorporated them into sacred bundles worn during battle to make them impervious to attacks. Yes. Despite the creature's resemblance to a wolf, it has been referred to by many other names, such as the Beast and the Rocky Mountain Hyena. Due to the absence of wolves in the state for a significant portion of the 20th century, the appearance of a wolf-like creature was quite an event. Shunka Warak'in is notorious for attacking dogs, cows, sheep, and anything else that is easily accessible behind a fence. Unfortunately, the absence of a carcass has made it difficult to determine the creature's identity. Israel Amon Hutchins, a settler in the Madison Valley of Montana, faced a problem in 1886 as an unknown creature was attacking his and his neighbors' animals. The creature was dark and resembled a canine, produced a unique and terrifying scream at night. One morning, Hutchins was alerted by his dogs barking and discovered the creature chasing his geese. The canine had a dark coat, high shoulders, and again a slanted back. Hutchins attempted to shoot the creature, but ended up accidentally killing one of his cows instead.
No.
There's a lot of different, just I know we're still in the middle of a quote, but there's a lot of different details in this one. That's why I'm added it.
Yeah.
But on a subsequent occasion, Hutchins aimed and shot the unknown creature, unintentionally killing one of his cows. Instead, in exchange for the dead animal, Hutchins received a new cow from a businessman and taxidermist named Joseph Sherwood, who mounted it, and then we got back to that Idaho taxidermy.
But now nobody knows where it is.
Correct. Yep. After Sherwood's museum closed down, the taxidermy collection was donated to the Idaho Museum of Natural History in Pocatello and stored away. One of the taxidermied animals turned out to be the Shunka Warak'in, which was around 4 feet in length, dark gray in color, with vague stripes on its flanks. Eventually, Jack Kirby...
Stripes on its flanks?
Yeah, that's why this had a lot more details. Jack Kirby, one of Israel Hutchins' grandsons, discovered this and managed to persuade the museum to lend it to the Madison Valley History Museum in Ennis, Montana. Kirby personally took it there after visiting his grandfather's grave to reunite the two cryptozoology legends. The creature known as the Beast has been the most popular exhibit at the museum for over a decade. Have you ever seen a Shunka Warak'in? Let us know in the comments. Yeah,
it almost sounds like the Tasmanian tiger or something like that came across from Asia somehow.
And this puts that into that kind of realm of more Tasmanian tigery kind of thing.
Yeah, stripes on the flanks. That's pretty distinct.
Yep.
And it's cool. I like how there's old lore from the native tribes and everything going way back, and then there's also Western settler lore.
Yeah. And
even more modern lore behind this. So it's wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's wild to think there's like some kind of hyena-like or like Tasmanian tiger-like thing running around North America. I never would have expected.
Yeah, it's lean, but it comes from enough sources that it made me things that make you go, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so that's why. But so some of the same stories and elements are there. But again, I'm missing a lot of the detail as usual. But I enjoyed that rendition and did flesh some things out more than the Coleman one. And I really, I was really interested in even the piece with the skin and the bundles and using it to be impervious to battle.
Yeah, it's like some kind of totemization of the animal there.
Exactly.
It carries some kind of mystic power.
Yep. And they mentioned this Rocky Mountain hyena version of it, which, is also interesting. And here's another one from Montana's Shunka Warak'in, Coffee House Writers. And we will start off after Mr. Hutchins shoots this creature, because we don't want to be too repetitive here, but back in the day, but then pick it up where they kind of added again some more of these kind of intriguing details. Quote, Hutchins gave the carcass to a taxidermist named Joseph Sherwood. Sherwood stuffed and mounted it and then put it on display at the General Store Museum in Henry's Lake, Idaho. Sherwood didn't know what it was, so he named it Ringdocus. The stuffed animal is only evidence of this unusual wolf hybrid creature. It went missing without being examined. Here's the part I didn't hear until 2007. ... Amidst the attack on the livestock, quote, Hutchins' grandfather saw a wolf-like creature chasing his wife's geese. He fired it, but it missed and ran off toward the river. Then in December 2005, a strange wolf-like creature began killing livestock, killed over 120 various types of livestock in Macomb, Dawson, Garfield counties.
Wow.
Newspaper articles about the mysterious killings appeared. The unusual predator, described as being 105 pounds, is more significant than most dogs. Its weight is closer to gray wolves, but has a pointed face. That is not normal for a gray wolf, nor is it the gray and cream-colored fur with flecks of orange. In 2007, Hutchins' grandson Jack Kirby tracked the missing animal down. Kirby followed the creature to the Idaho Museum of Natural History in Pocatello. It is now on loan on display for the Madison Valley History Museum in Montana. Stories of the Shunka Warak'in died down as legends do. Another cryptozoologist, Mark Hall, heard about a group of creatures resembling the wolf-like monster, ... Western wolves are gray or white. There have been no brown wolves reported. DNA test results show there is a similarity to coyotes. It is still inconclusive, and the experts are still waiting for better results. Ranchers disagree. To the ranchers, it was a wolf, and it killed 60 of Mr. Whitehead's sheep and 21 ewes. The creature bit all the animals on the right side of the rear. In their minds, it was the same method of operation, or MO. The ranchers believe that the Shunka Warak'in killed over 200 sheep.
Wow.
Mr. Stuber of the Wildlife Services could only verify 58 kills. Wildlife Services killed one of them from a plane in 2006. Stuber wouldn't confirm it was a wolf. He only stated that was a huge canid-type creature.
Whoa.
Unlike a wolf, the beastie's fur was orange, red, and yellow fur. The time period is right. It could have been Sarah Palin, I would like to add. The strange deaths of these ranchers' livestock initiated a feud between ranchers and wolves. The wolves got blamed for all the livestock killings, whether guilty or not. Montana is close to Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. Ranchers have a theory that the wolves migrated from the park to their ranches. According to a report by Natural History, wolves do not migrate. They do travel up to 30 miles a day to hunt for food. The distance between Montana and Wyoming is a little further than 30 miles. It means that either there is an established wolf pack in Montana or it's not a wolf. Livestock killings took place in 3 different Montana counties, which are more than 30 miles apart. Not normal behavior for gray wolves to traverse between 3 counties. If it isn't a wolf, is it a Shunka Warak'in? A rancher shot a wolf-like creature outside Denton, Montana. It didn't look like a wolf, and officials from Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, Montana FWP, were confused. DNA tests came back saying it was a wolf. It didn't look like any known wolf. The internet had a field day, and posts saying it was a dire wolf or even a werewolf flooded the sites. It had shorter legs, large ears, and multicolored fur. Sergeant Kyle Anderson of the Montana FWP told a local radio station that it didn't look like a wolf. Experts wonder if it could have been a purebred or hybrid. The Montana Gray Wolf Program thinks there are around 900 gray wolves in Montana. This report came out in 2017, so not too long ago. Why weren't the ranchers aware of gray wolves being in Montana then? Whatever is hunting the sheep in Montana isn't a normal wolf. It doesn't look like or act like a normal wolf. Is it a dire wolf from ancient bygone days, like in Game of Thrones? ... Maybe there are 2 types of wolves running loose in Montana. One type is a gray wolf, while the other is the unknown species. The Shunka Warak'in may be alive and well in Montana. If you are ever in Montana, keep a lookout for this beastie there.
Yeah, that's a serious predator, killing that many things in that short time.
Yep, and that's from Montana's...
And covering that much of a territory, like ranging that far and just killing that often and that quantity like that's a serious predator right there. And it makes you wonder, is there a pack of them or is it a sole? I mean, usually it's one of them that they're thinking, right? It's not like a pack of them.
Yeah, and the reason I read a few different things is each one of them brought new details. So I wanted to just kind of do the overlap because none of them said quite the same. Some of them had a lot more detail, a lot more killings, a lot more range, a lot more colorful fur. That last bit was very recent, that they caught something very strange. Why isn't this in the news? Why don't we have a picture when these things happen? It's all very disheartening and disappointing for someone interested in new species that, when something even happens recently, it's still... And a lot of that has to do with they don't want people in the area to know that there's dangerous animals out there. The same thing's happening. I know this for a fact because same thing happened in Pennsylvania where they just refused to acknowledge that mountain lions are there. And everybody who lives there, familiar with the woods, understands mountain lions are there. What is that about?
There are no sharks in this water.
Yeah, exactly. It's the ocean's attached to the rest of the ocean. So you can't make those claims. But that, again, from Montana's Shunka Warak'in, Coffee House Writers, will be in the show notes. But that was pretty awesome. But I also agree with Coleman, though, on the dire wolf part. He said back in his coverage, what little evidence we have, both size and looks-wise, it doesn't resemble a dire wolf. I totally agree with that. There's also...
it doesn't sound like a dire at all.
No. Nope. And that odd slope to the back, again... is an interesting tidbit.
It sounds more like something from Australia migrated to North America somehow.
Yeah.
It totally sounds like something from like the Australian, Tasmanian sort of realm.
Yeah, you got a slope back, you got these little stripes, you got this little
or even
Tasmanian
African
flair to it. Yeah.
I'm sure there's stuff in Africa that has some sort of resemblance to that. And if you're talking like over a huge expanse of space and time with some evolution going on.
Well, that's why the Hutchins' grandson pursued the escape from a circus angle, but there weren't any within hundreds of miles, A, and B, when you start to get to these later stories about so many killings, which obviously had to be more than one beast.
Oh, such a crazy predator,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, and there you go. Probably more than one of them. They're just around.
But why aren't we seeing more of them? We did shoot one from a helicopter, they said. They did catch something that looked shoot something that looked very different, at least fur-wise.
Yeah.
But I don't know why these things wouldn't show up in the news and why we don't get a good look at it. And
maybe they're transdimensional portal travelers like Bigfoot, and they just pop in and out.
Yeah, well,
there's the other side of the coin.
But they shot one. And
it's not ajo guano time yet, is it?
Well, on that note, I have something ajo guano-like. It's not, but this could, I guess, also be potentially ajo guano-y. But there's these reports from Montana of a very savvy cryptid. If you study ranches over the years and how they operate, well, this is what I thought of with the markings. Are these ranch Shunka Warak'in? They're just making their herd. They're like giving their brand. So they bite it in the same place to kind of brand it, and so they can come back later and claim, no, these are mine. Mm-hmm. These are mine. Like maybe they watched ranchers for a long time. I guess this is ajo guano.
Yeah, that sounds pretty ajo guano.
Let's just do that. That's my ajo guano for today.
Marking their territory.
Yeah. But it's not unprecedented to think about, wolves dressing up like grandma. I mean, this is, they've been doing that back in Brothers Grimm time. So this is just a different, flair or variation of a theme.
Right.
Best defense for a Shunka Warak'in is just when camping out in the wilds, leave out a Wolfman Puck menu from this program, which we're about to review. If they're out on their tent, they're on the ground somewhere, don't put it up too high, get to where they could actually see it. But what will happen is they'll look and they'll notice they could be a basket ingredient. They'll get frightened and they don't want to be eaten, so they'll leave and leave your animals unmolested.
Yeah, when the hunter becomes the hunted.
Exactly. To actually fight them, if you're in a battle with the Shunka Warak'in, my dream team, I'm bringing Vidar, son of Odin. He's the guy who avenges his father's death by killing Fenrir, the giant wolf, or Norse legend, in Ragnarok. He doesn't get a lot of credit. You don't hear about Vidar very often. You hear about he doesn't get Chris Hemsworth or Anthony Hopkins to play him in movies. He just shows up at the end to kill Fenrir, one of the versions and one of the beasts. So I think he deserves a little mad kujos for that.
Oh, mad kujos.
Down boy!
We can have two mad kujos. We've done it before.
Yeah, we just did.
Yeah. But I guess he was kind of a quiet dude, like he was maybe knitting something at the time, and then Ragnarok happens. He's like, crap, someone killed Dad. Hold my mead.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to play him in the movie because he only has one scene. He goes out, does something. That's it. He's back knitting, drinking mead. 5 minutes later.
I'm going to bring best defense. We're doing best defense.
Yeah, do it.
I'm going to bring a herd of full-grown male Maine Coon cats.
There you go. But you can't herd them. How can you herd Maine Coons?
They're actually more dog-like than cat in their demeanors.
Maine Coon. I owned a Maine.
Giant cats, dude.
Yeah.
Like as big as this thing, but the cat. I saw a video just recently on YouTube, actually, of an especially large Maine Coon cat going up to a wolf in like just facing off with like staring it down, and the wolf cowers away a little bit. Yeah. Like, damn, that's a big cat. Yeah, the cat's bigger than the wolf, put it that way.
I've seen the pictures of people holding giant Maine Coons, and like Guinness Book of World Record is a monstrous house cat, which again is why you might have these black cats showing up simply being a black Maine Coon. I mean, it's
dude. That would, if you got a fully black male Maine Coon, because the males are way bigger than the females.
Yeah,
but if you had a male fully black Maine Coon cat, it would look like a panther walking around.
Definitely.
It would totally look like a panther.
Definitely. But there's actually a couple of mini S-Files related things going on to the backdrop of this episode today, which is part of the reason I kind of went this route for the Shunka Warak'in. Based on that stuffed creature mounted on the wall somewhere in the Southwest, I think I know where this thing might be hanging.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it in my closet?
No, but we're going to call the place and find out what the heck's hanging in that wall. But I admit, I didn't say, hey, what is this thing hanging on the wall? I was there, eating a burger and drinking a beer and looking at this thing. And I was, I guess, I don't know. I was really not a Maz moment where I was like, what? I could have just solved this there. So what the hell is that thing? I did not do that. But there's a very weird creature hanging somewhere in the Southwest.
Ask them in the moment.
I know.
Why didn't you ask them in the moment?
I just said that I failed. Do you have to
it's weird.
You have to make it happen again? But I have.
Okay, I'm done.
But I do have another actual kind of real-ish us file. It's really what happened. But again, I'm not the one who saw it, so of course it becomes frustrating to me.
Okay.
But back in the day, as you know, I did have a job actually, right? And sometimes they sent me.
You had a job?
You're aware
I
of
didn't
this.
know that.
You are aware of this. You have to back me up on this.
No, he did. He once had jobs, Maz.
Yeah, and going out on the res was actually, I was sent occasionally under different reasons for different capacities.
Okay.
And one time, I don't know why, I would say this is maybe in the Tuba City area, maybe north of Tuba City, I don't know. But we were somewhere on the res driving. And the person I was with, we were there on a mission. Don't remember what the mission was. But I remember very vividly, he goes, "What is that?" And I look and I see something duck down into like a culvert, by the, basically a wash along the side of the road. It just dipped into the wash. Didn't get a good look at it. Saw that it was a weird, creature, dog-like or coyote-like. But that's all I could say. I have nothing to add. It could have been a coyote. He says it had a slope back and looked like a hyena.
Whoa, really?
Yes. He goes, "What is a hyena doing on the?" So I don't know. And I guess the only thing I would say about that is that, basically, is there anyone else out? Does anyone have any more information about res dogs looking a little bit different than average? Because they do have a reputation as being potentially meaner, potentially more vicious, mean-looking, like the Warak'in. Is there more stuff out there? We weren't up there a lot. I was not on the res a lot in my life. I've been on the res.
There's stuff out there, my friend. There's stuff out there.
But this was right near homes. This was not in the middle of nowhere. We were just approaching where we needed to be. We were actually entering a town of sorts. So
What time of day was it? Just middle of the day?
It was middle of the day. Something on the edge of a group of houses, ducking into a wash. And he said, "What is a hyena?" That's exactly kind of what he said.
He saw a Shunka Warak'in.
Yeah, he saw something, and
I had to look at the paper to remember how to say that. Shunka Warak'in.
So I would ask if anyone else has any more, lives out in those parts, and at monsterloretour@gmail.com, let us know if there's other things that look a little bit different than your average domesticated dog.
I know some people who still spend a lot of time driving around the res for a living, so I'll poke at them, see if they have any stories like that.
There you go. You
ever see a hyena on the res? And I go, what?
Well, again,
but one of them might go,
only saw a few dogs on the res, and one of them was described as looking as a hyena. I don't know why.
Yeah. I see res dogs all the time. They're just dogs. But,
no, I get it. That's what they should be.
They tend to be in town, the actual res dogs, because people
throw
scraps.
So was that.
Yeah.
This thing was right on the edge of a group of houses.
It was on the edge of town.
Well, my memory, this was an old story. I didn't know I'd be doing a piece on something related many years later.
A little piece of me wants to start thinking it's related to the skin.
Walkers.
But the range isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
if you start talking about stuff like that on the res, that's where my brain goes.
Yeah. Well, here's a good shift to theories. Theory-wise, Coleman's, nonplussed by the dire wolf thing. There is some footage from Michigan. I think it was a 2008 video of this dog running out, and then this big black dog rears up, and it looks...
Oh, the one in the woods there. It's like chasing each other around, and the thing looks huge.
It looks like a dire wolf. Like, it is one of the more impressive things. I don't know if it's been debunked or not. I did not hear that.
It's just a weird video because he never, walks out there to give you a scale of distance.
Correct. The guy who did the video, we don't even know how big his dog was. We know nothing.
Right.
He didn't give us any references. It's unfortunate because the footage in itself is
impressive.
Is very impressive.
First look, it definitely does. That is very reminiscent of dire wolf.
Yeah.
In my mind, that was dire wolf.
Because it has that behind the neck weird shape to the head, and it just...
Yeah, and the straight black color and just the size and proportion shape. Very dire wolf.
Yep. But that's
not what we're talking about here.
Nope.
With the sloped back and the striping and weird things like that.
Nope. Coleman's more the bonophagus.
Could it be a warthog? Do we have warthogs?
You just said they fly over Tucson all the time.
Oh, yeah, they do, huh? Those things are so crazy. They don't look like they should fly.
Yeah.
Those warthog planes.
Yeah.
They're wild
And
to watch.
Shunka Warak'in shouldn't fly either. But as Coleman says, and here's a quote from him on this matter, possibly the species existed here, but was sufficiently rare that examples do not exist in the fossil record. This, of course, is pure speculation. Eberhart always seems to have something to say about cryptid origin theories, so I dug this one up about what he had to say in Mysterious Creatures, A Guide to Cryptozoology. Possible explanations for the Shunka Warak'in. Number 1, a surviving bear dog, family Amphicyonid, a group of predators that lived in North America about 34 to 5 million, up to 5 million years ago, from the late Eocene through the Miocene. Bear dogs had wolf-like faces and medium to large bodies with massive thigh and shoulder bones. Most had plantigrade feet, but some were digitigrade. Some species could climb trees like bears, whereas others were adapted for running. 2, a surviving Chasmoporthetus ossifragus, the only fossil hyenid found in North America. So there was a hyenid back in the day.
So we have hyenas in the fossil record from North America?
That's what it's saying. It was a mobile hunter that lived 2 million up to the 10,000 year ago mark for the Pleistocene, Pleistocene edge there of the Ice Age.
You just flipped the whole unextinction of species back to the top of my list right there.
Yeah. Here's the thing. They're saying that also was here up until 10,000 years ago, which was news to me.
I didn't know we ever had stuff like that on this continent. I mean, that's a long time ago. But
no, it is not that long ago. I mean, anything.
Not fossil record-wise.
Well, anything we're looking for crypto-wise, when we're talking, we haven't seen it in a million years. It does happen, like the coelacanth, but it's, again, rare. But when you're talking about 10,000 years, I think things can hide that long.
Yeah, geologically and evolutionarily.
They can still be
stuff.
alive. They can still be a pocket of something existing.
Yeah, like they're in this one little system of mountains that nobody ever goes into, and then finally one day conditions get right that their population starts growing again.
Or you're Doug McClure and you enter a valley with a submarine and there's dinosaurs.
Or you go down into that hole at the North Pole and into the Hollow Earth. Exactly. That's a whole nother realm, though.
That's all different movies. Number 3, still on Eberhart's, his theories. Number 3, a surviving Borophagian dog. This is back to Coleman's. A member of a diverse group that once filled the same ecological niche in North America as hyenas did in Africa, ranging from the size of a fox to the size of a lion. They had powerful jaw muscles, broad and strong heads, and short muzzles. They were replaced by extinct forms of modern canines, sometimes in the Pliocene, between 4 up to 2 million years ago. So those are the 3, basically, from Eberhart, one of them matching Coleman's for the Bonophagus. That'll be in the show notes. But Coleman and Eberhart both selling that Borophagian premise, and I think that's probably, in some ways, the most likely suspect. But like you said, if there was a hyena-like creature here that lived up until the last ice age, that also puts that in the running for some, again, a hybrid between a wolf and one of those things. Maybe some of the DNA survived, potentially. Yeah,
and it's not unlikely because we know that coyotes and wolves can make coy wolves. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, if they're canid, a lot of them can interbreed.
Mm-hmm. And I always have to do a little something with the shamanic shapeshift complex, which is the theory I'm always plugging.
There you go.
And I think you're going to guess this one. I already hinted at it. That intriguing clue about, the Rocky Mountain hyena feature talks about these strips of flesh of this creature being used to make warriors impervious to battle. This is only one clue, but it's really similar to the shamanic magic that makes warriors impervious to berserkers. There's a shamanic piece of being impervious to bullets, and if that's the totem, if that's the connection, if that's the link, if that's the hybrid therianthrope, it becomes more like a skin
walker
or some type of magical more creature that works with the shamanic totems of the day.
Right.
And it's only one little hint, but they did think it was important enough to do, and they did use it in battle, and that is at least a tentative link back to a shamanic piece, in my opinion. I don't know if you have a thought on that.
I was waiting for you to go to the shaman thing on that. Yeah, because it's digging a little bit, but this is Monster Lore Tour, and we look for everything, all the angles. And yeah, the fact that they pop in and out, and you see them so seldom, they're so predatorial, but, seem so wily and intelligent, that, yeah. And I mean, like I said, my mind did start going toward the skin
Walker
element of it, but they go outside the territory and like they're too wide scoping, and it does seem they travel more east-west on the latitudes of like southern Canada, northern United States, whereas the skin
Walker
has the trail going up kind of like west of the Rockies. They travel kind of north-south, and they're really primarily just in the southwest. Like I think they range up to like Wyoming and Montana sometimes at the extremes, but they're pretty much all just in the southwest.
What are?
The skinwalk.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. See, I set you up for failure there.
I almost said it. It's been a long time since we slipped up and said that whole thing.
Zoo.
There you go.
We'll get there. But basically, it's just that piece of it with the magical skin. That's, to me, its behavior could be an animal. But that piece of it, the relevance became part of the magic ritual. And if you're going to put your life on the line by rubbing something on you that's going to make bullets go around you, there may be a magical shamanic creature at the heart of that, potentially.
Like they see it as indestructible.
Correct. And that's a common theme we found from the Bridgewater Triangle when we're talking about Tespakwan and the Black Sachem, to Chief Cornstalk when we're talking other, whenever we get to the bottom of a story and a shaman, there tends to be this berserker piece too, where they can be, and we've also found it's been disastrous. I don't know if we ever went over this, but there's definitely been times in history that they thought they'd be impervious to battle by doing something, and it didn't work, and they were massacred.
That doesn't go well ever.
Yep. So, but to have that kind of faith in that creature means they may have really thought of that as in a different way back in the day when they saw it, that this was a different than just a coyote, that it was something a little bit more on that edge of cryptidness there. Yeah,
it sounds like a mountain lion level predator, but canine instead of feline.
Yep.
It's a frightening thought, actually, to have wandering around and not know about it.
Yeah, an ancient, mean-looking hyena dog.
It's bad enough having the wolves and coyotes wandering around and knowing about it. And something even bigger and badder and meaner that you don't know about. That's scary.
Well, I have my actual ahuguano, even that other one was impromptu, was better, but this one we'll throw in here anyway.
Ahuguano theory of the week.
Oh no, here it comes. Quick, to the batshit signal.
Yeah, the creature is somehow connected to the infamous cryptozoological course called snipe hunting. I usually stay back in the chopper, and Jeremy wrestles the man-eating snipe. But in my younger years,
I love hunting them snipe.
I went on a snipe hunt, and they gave me like a potato sack to hold.
And a stick to whack it with.
Yeah, and so the creature, the snipe, seems smaller than this beast to some degree, but I feel like there could definitely be a link somewhere. So I also don't, want to talk about this anymore because it's sad. No, I actually only went on a snipe hunt. I never went with a bag. I didn't know what these guys were doing. I followed them off in the woods to see what was going on. I was not truly participatory, which probably doesn't surprise anybody. But I was there going, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then quickly, but there was people holding back, like people were falling for this. And
I have an ahuguano for you.
Do it.
Predator's dog. The predator?
Yeah.
Everybody loves dogs, right?
Yeah.
If the predator came down to hunt and he brought his dog.
Mm-hmm.
And hence the Shunka Warak'in.
Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty straightforward. I don't know if I have to.
That's perfect. That's good.
It's the predator's dog.
I like it.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah,
big and bad and killing like 200 sheep in a week.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well done, sir.
Guys out hunting the ranchers and hit the things hunting the livestock.
Yeah, you do it again. You don't think of these things, and you come up with good ones. The one you blew my mind. It was in the moment. Was the Bruce Willis?
Oh, the best defense.
Yeah, that was
with the owls.
Yeah, that was amazing.
The undrownable, unbreakable.
Yeah, you made an undrownable,
best defense
unbreakable.
ever.
But my other ahuguano theory is the dirt wolf. I think it might be the dirt wolf. Hear me out.
Dirt wolf? Is this like a golem kind of thing?
These are seen around Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and surrounding areas, or wherever Victory Brewing Company is serving their delicious IPA. I actually haven't had it in over a decade, And I always like to point out, though, when discussing Downingtown, that's where the original diner from the Blob is located, and I've been in that.
Oh, no kidding.
And to this day...
You've been in the diner
I
from
think
the
we
original
discussed
Blob?
this already. Yeah, it's in
we might have,
Downingtown,
I
Pennsylvania.
That's pretty good, actually. That's
yeah,
a cool...
pretty...
That is a very cool, like, horror landmark to have visited.
Yeah, when I went in there, it's like you do think about, like, you know, you find yourself looking for the fire extinguishers, you know, asking yourself, what would Steve McQueen do? And, you know, it's kind of a...
So you've been to the beach where the SS Minnow was parked for Gilligan's Island, and you've been to the diner where they filmed the Blob.
It's true. I think it's still open.
You've lived quite the life, Moss.
I know. It's a lot of important bucket list stuff I've checked off. But you look on that Dirt Wolf label, by the way, on the bottle of that beer, and the wolf is a little crypty weird. Especially there's a darker label. Where it's black. It looks kind of doppelgangery. It's just a silhouette of a wolf, and it's creepy but delicious.
Huh.
It could
Did
be
we
related.
slip into Wolfman Pucks with it when I wasn't looking?
No, but it's my ahu guano. But yeah, you're gonna see this resurface
the
again.
ahu guano came with a beer. That's nice. I like that.
I paired my. I don't follow any of the rules really.
I know I'm full of shit, but here's a beer. That's the ahu guano right there.
But I do want to talk about the actual real reason I did this, because I was sitting eating a burger in a bar and looking at this strange creature on the wall. And I'm going to say where that is now. It was Crown King, Arizona. And it was a place called the Saloon on the top of this mountain. You got to take this dirt, you know, 4-wheel drive dirt road all the way up to the top.
Top of the Bradshaws, basically, right?
And it really struck me later is the sad part. I was just like, what was I looking at? It was wolf, certainly wolf-like. Certainly with DNA testing would probably come back as a wolf. But again, we see such variations of these creatures, and this thing just looked odd to me.
So you're thinking you saw
a Shunka Warak'in on the wall.
Warak'in head mounted on the wall at the Crown King Saloon.
And there was only one beer involved, so you can't blame like I was there all night. Just, what is that on the wall? No,
you didn't even ask, though.
I know. Well, we're going
Were
to.
Were you just so frightened by it you couldn't?
It was more that it was more that it hit me on the ride back. What was that thing? It wasn't like at the time. I was like, I kind of looked at it, kind of quirked.
Because it kind of looks like a wolf. It kind of looks like a coyote, but it's not actually either one. Did it have the elongated snout?
No, it's just the head.
Yeah. Well, the elongated snout.
No, I would say no, but it almost looked like it had more of a pig's nose to it at the end. It was weird, snubby part to it.
The chupacabra?
And it had... No, it was a wolf, but it had a weird nose and it had patchy hair, so it was scraggly. It just looked mean and weird. And when you look at the Shunka Warak'in picture from Lauren Coleman's book, or the existing picture, what's supposed to be a ringdocus, I think it's in the ballpark. I'd just say that. And if you just want to do like a Bing image search or a Google image search, you can find this. It's really hard. It's up in the corner of one picture. There's a picture of it just in your normal image search. I did not take a picture of it either.
So you got to find the Crown King Saloon and look for the picture of the bar?
Yeah. But we'll try to solve this when we get to, it's actually up to you when we do that, when we call.
Oh, you want to call him? I was supposed to do that first. Yeah, let's call him. Hold on.
Crown King Saloon, how may I help you?
Hey, I got a quick question. Sorry to bug you. I'm Matt Zero from a podcast, Monster Lore Tour. I was up in your bar, and I'm just wondering, what is that strange wolf creature head that's up on the wall? Very odd to me.
Javelina.
It's just a javelina. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, bye.
Bye. It had a pig nose.
That explains it.
But it doesn't look like a javelina. It did look like a javelina. But it's weird. It was weird looking.
So not really wolf at all then.
Not wolf at all. But I said it had like a pig snout.
Yeah, you got that part right. There must be one gnarly javelina for you to be like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's a really gnarly javelina. I have to say that. So no, I have to say it did look like it had a pig's nose. It was really scraggly. And my first experience, like, we see javelinas all the time. It does have a very wolf-like face. My first impression of ones I saw in Prescott running up this wash, it looked like a little pack of werewolves. Like they were really, this family ran up, and it does look, they can look wolf-like. The ones in Tucson, it's more like the dire wolf face, like they have the bigger mane behind the head. It's definitely different. If you look at that thing hanging on the wall, it doesn't quite look like a javelina either.
Yeah.
It's a not lena. So it's...
Well, a lot depends on the taxidermist too. Maybe tried to make it more frightening looking.
It's strange. It's very straggly hair. It is wolf-like more than pig-like in that. But yeah, now that you mention it, I said it had a snout like a pig. I did say that.
Yep.
But it didn't look like a javelina to me, and we see them a lot. So if you look at that thing and you see that, see what your own opinion is about it. Let us know. One person took a picture of it. It's on the upper left corner of the picture. If you kind of blow it up and kind of pull it out, I would say it's a very strange looking javelina.
Yeah. There you go.
But it's not a Warak'in. It's not a Shunka
At least you
Warak'in.
finally got your answer.
Yeah, I know. I gave myself a 1% chance. I probably gave myself way too much credit for 1%. But that brings us to Sir Richard Scullymuggle, Skeptic's Review.
You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
They would say it's a javelina. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, you just nailed that one, didn't you?
Yeah. But one taxidermical item that we only have one picture of, some old legends of a wolf, like Dog Snatcher from, Native American folklore. Plain and simple, they're just going to say there's no such thing as a Shunka Warak'in molder, as they always do.
But, I mean, there's so much there. You definitely brought some interesting evidence of this thing, because, there's a fossil record of hyena-like creatures being on North America. And, as recently as 10,000 years ago, which, like you said, isn't really even that long ago, geologically speaking. And we have these crossbreeds of wolves and coyotes that we know of that look like a different thing. And, all these things added all up, and sure, why wouldn't there be some kind of canid predator running around at some point in the western United States and into the Midwest and stuff?
No, I agree. I agree. It was interesting enough to me to definitely, and like I said, that what really triggered was there was two main reasons I did this episode. I was in a car where someone said they saw a hyena-like creature climbing around the res.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
And then I also saw something, what I don't think is, I mean, it is now that you say javelina, I'm like, oh, okay, but it's a very strange looking javelina on the wall. So, but it doesn't look like the ones you'd see around here. I'll just put it that way. I've seen a lot of javelina in these parts, and that is a pretty strange or bigger. It's just a bigger. It's a bigger one. I guess that's all it probably is, and that's what made it seem so strange. Because the head of it is 2.5 feet sticking off the wall. That's just the head. That's not the javelina we see around here.
No, that's definitely different from here.
So when you see it on the wall, and you're used to the whole creature being only 2 or 3 feet in length, and that's 2 or 3 feet just the head.
Yeah.
I mean
that's a big javelina.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's probably more like a wild boar from another part of the world.
Right.
Would be my guess.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how I've never seen a javelina bigger than 2 or 3 feet.
That might be why it's on the wall, because it's the biggest javelina any of them's ever seen, kind of thing.
So it did look more wolf-like to me.
It's an outlier.
For that reason.
It's a monstrous javelina, is what it is.
Speaking of wolf, that brings us to our Wolfman Puck.
Oh, Wolfman Puck's Scripted Culinary Corner.
Your entree, sir.
Smells good.
Before we do our usual segment, though, we got a cease and desist letter from a chef with a similar name to our Wolfman Puck segment. So from now on, we're going to call it Bela Lugosi's Tasty Bites. We're going to do it with a vampire voice. Creatures of the night, they taste so wonderful.
I'm not making a new bumper.
Yeah, I'm only making that up. We haven't gotten that yet. If that happens, though, we have a backup plan now. We are ready. So we're just going to keep it going.
That's fun.
Until we get that cease and desist letter, But the Basset
You
ingredient...
just got to make sure to say Wolfman Puck.
Yeah, I've said it wrong once.
Man.
I did say it wrong once. I don't know if we edited that out. But the basket ingredient is obviously this wolf-dog hybrid known as the Shunka Warak'in. And I'm cooking asado Shunka Conquero.
Whoa.
Now, to get a Shunka meat, this is very rare, so it'll be at market price. So bring your, it's pretty pricey. But this thing, this is early Pleistocene meat. But I think it's in the Southwest, even though we kind of got our shot down a little bit just moments ago. But that's okay. We're going to forge through on this. I think they're still in the Southwest. But the original recipe is from Argentina, but it has those red hot chili peppers we've come to love and know in the Southwest.
I love the red hot chili peppers.
Yeah.
I saw Mars Volta open for them.
There you go. But the original recipe is from Argentina, of course, but you have to soak the meat with salt overnight still on the hide. So this is so this is how they used to do it back in cave time. So you're just cutting this hide, you're soaking it, you're throwing it on the open grill. No. And of course, you got to watch to make ssure predators like, saber-toothed tigers don't take, or other hostile tribes take your meat.
Giant javelinas, yeah.
Or giant javelinas. Look at that picture. That is a big javelina. But remember to cook the meat with the hide still intact because that kind of seals in all the juices. So this is going to be a spicy dish for the Shunka Warak'in. Be cooking all night. Meat's going to tenderize. And yes, you guessed it, I'm bringing back the Dirt Wolf Double from Victory Brewing Company, a very tasty IPA. So you can, view the creature. If you look on the label, it's pretty Shunka Warak'in. You can pretend you're sitting up at the Crown King bar, sipping a beer and looking at a giant boar. And I think that's my Wolfman Puck for today.
Okay.
You didn't know what we were even doing, so there's no way you could do ahead of time.
This is the first time I ever came in to record an episode for this podcast where I literally had no idea what the episode was going to be about.
Yeah.
Until the microphones were on, and I'm like, wait, what are we talking about?
Well, I told you we had a 1% chance of solving it, and that's probably all I told you about this.
And it's a javelina.
And it's a giant javelina.
No, it was a cool creature to pick though, because it's very believable this thing could be running around, man.
Yeah.
You got fossil record, you got crossbreeds, all these things. I mean, I'm kind of repeating myself now, but there's so much evidence that you brought that this thing could be a thing. And to think that there's some kind of hyena running around North America, that's pretty wild.
Well, I think there's a ton of evidence. I think there's such a variety of hints, tantalizing hints, that give this enough of a, what if? It's a what if moment,
So I'm going to turn this entire thing around on its head, if you don't mind.
All right.
So I'm going to go up Montana way, go out into the wilds, and I'm going to wrangle myself up a sheep squatch, which I'm going to spit roast over an open fire. And when it's nice and crispy and all cooked up and toasty, I'm going to call in the Shunka Warak'in to feast upon the sheep squatch. And to wash it all down, I'm going to bring a case of the Chicken Killer barley wine from Santa Fe Brewing.
Wow.
New Mexico.
There you go.
It's got a dog dressed as a bandit holding some guns on the label.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have this in your brain. Why? I guess.
All those sheep that they ate. One of them killed 200 sheep. They need a lot of sheep to feed the Shunka Warak'in. Oh, so I figure sheep squatch, giant sheep.
Yeah.
And it's like a feast I'm going to throw a feast for the spotlight cryptid today, for the creature itself. Instead of eating, I don't eat dog, dude. I just don't.
Yeah. No,
I'm a dog owner. I can't do that. So I'm feeding the dog.
Part of your totem.
Part of my life is feeding the dog. So I'm feeding the dog.
Yeah. I'm wolf totem. So at the same time, I shouldn't have done that either. So it happens.
Yeah.
Bad totem happens. You don't have to partake. You can just make your friends happy.
Right. We're feeding the monsters.
Yeah.
Feeding monsters to monsters. It's a nasty habit, actually.
We have a lot of them.
It's quite the hobby we've developed.
From there. Yeah. Well, I think we both lost that one. That's my statement.
Yeah, fair enough.
There you go.
Fair enough.
I'll give you edged it out with your dog bandit on the label.
I actually think I used that chicken killer barley wine back in like episode 4 or something.
Oh, then you definitely lost.
Yeah, I think I'm totally cheating.
Can't do that. There's no what he I tried to be nice.
I mean, it's been like 70 something episodes, but I'm pretty sure I used that one before.
Beer to serve with this stuff.
I just have certain beers that I come back into my brain for certain things.
Well, there you go. That's all I got. Nice little not a Moz deep dive, little spotlight critter tonight, just to throw a light on something that will, as soon as you throw a light on it will scatter off pretty quickly.
Straight cryptid. And there were some pretty recent sightings, and you had the hyena story from the res. It makes me want to go out and start looking for some more stuff around here.
There you go.
Or asking around. Anyway, I totally need to poke at those people I know that drive around the res a lot still.
Yep.
And you ever seen anything that looks kind of, weird, dog-like, but not dog?
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you have that story, please, monsterloretour@gmail.com. We'd love to hear it.
There you go.
I know someone who was sitting next to me who swears he saw a hyena on the res, saw a slope-backed creature.
Mm.
And that would have been, just to give you a year, because I didn't do that, I would say this would be about 2010.
Oh, so that's even
maybe
more
2011.
recent than the stories you had in the main episode.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so if you enjoyed that story, please take a second to hit all the happy little fun buttons, whatever platform you're listening or watching on. We are on all the major listening platforms. Plus, we have our YouTube channel now. It's going to take a while for it to catch up with our audio stuff, but we have them coming out a couple episodes a week at the moment. Might do some dumps as we go. But, likes and subscribes and shares and follows and auto downloads. Or maybe if you got a second, leave a rating and review or throw us a comment. Let us know what you think more specifically about what we're doing.
I think there's a Shunka Warak'in scratching at the door, though. Do you hear that?
There's some kind of overgrown dog-like beast scratching at the door. So
it always is around our podcast.
We always know when it's time to wrap one of these things up. Anything to add or subvert to all this before we go, Moss?
Nope.
All right, well, in that case, until next time, to all our fellow paranerdalists out there, have a good one.
Monster Lore Tour Podcast.
Moz is the devil.
It's true. I will curse them all.
I'm going to shout at him because he's the devil.
That's true. I'm not arguing on that point.
This has been a Shut Up production.
Shut up!